Hi guys, so great to get to talk to you again. Oh, and good news, we're going to get to actually see each other soon. Pastor Derek, I'm sure your mom and dad got an email saying that on the 21st, on Father's Day, we're going to be able to meet together for outside services, and I can't wait to see you all. So I am really, really excited. So, but we'll still be doing this. So if you're not able to come, to the outside service, or if you just missed the good old days of watching Mr. Mike on video, the videos will still be available for you to watch. And your parents will still get the email with activities and things to go along with that as well. So this is our 5th week in our series talking about some of the attitudes that people have about God that keep them in control of their own lives, attitudes that allow them to say that they're Christians, that they're followers of Jesus, but attitudes that keep them from having to submit their lives to Christ and to live in relationship with Him. And we've talked about several of those so far. First, we talked about how God is not like a school principal. His chief concern is not that we follow His rules or practice the rituals He's prescribed for us. No, He wants to be with us. Then we learned that God is not like a clockmaker. His chief concern is not that we learn the biblical principles that govern the world and then live our lives according to those biblical principles so that we can experience wholeness and wealth and privilege and a great life. No, He wants us to live with Him. And last week we learned that God is not like a genie. God does give us good things. But good gifts are not His chief concern. His chief concern is that we be with Him, that we choose to live in relationship and trust in Him to take care of us instead of trying to be in control ourselves. So this week we're going to learn about another attitude that people have towards God that allows them to be in control of their lives instead of choosing to be with God and trusting Him to be in control of their lives. This week we're going to learn that God is not like the boss or the CEO of a company. Now, you guys, I know most of you don't have a boss yet, exactly. Your mom and dads probably have bosses, but you guys don't. But you know what a boss is, right? That's the person at your job who's in charge, and it's their job to make sure that you accomplish the things that you need to do for work. So they make sure that you get your work done on time, that you do a good job, that you do the things you need to do to help your company or the business that you work for to be successful. That's what a boss does. They're in charge in that way. And some people see God that way. They think that God has a job for us to do. Like He has this mission. He's building His kingdom on the earth. And we serve Him and we work hard to build His kingdom. And when we serve Him well, then we earn His rewards. And see, that puts us in control, right? We go out, we work hard, we serve hard, and then God has to reward us for our hard service, for our hard work. They see God like a boss. But God is not like a boss or like the CEO of a corporation. God wants to be with us. He wants us to spend time with Him and be with Him and love Him, not just work for Him. Our Bible story this week is actually the same Bible story that we talked about last week. We're just going to look at a different character. Last week I told you the story of the lost son or the prodigal son, and we learned about a young man who he wanted the good things that his father could give him, but he didn't want to live in relationship with his father. So he told his dad, "Would you give me my inheritance now?" And then he took the money and he went away to a far land where he wasted it and then lost everything there. He found himself poor and eating the food that the pigs were eating, and he decided, I'm going to go home and ask to be a servant in my dad's house because that is better than the way I'm living now. Do you remember what happened? He went home and his father saw him a long way off and ran out to him and invited him back into the family as a son. right? We learn that but there's another character in the story that we didn't talk about yet. The other character is the lost son's older brother. And when Jesus told this story, the older brother probably was the main point of the story because he was talking about a group of people that he was comparing to this older brother. This older brother didn't leave home. He stayed at home and worked with the father. So the older brother was out in the field working when his younger brother came home. And remember, the dad was so excited to see him that he had a calf killed, and they threw a huge party with great food and everything to celebrate. And the older brother came home in the middle of that party. And instead of being happy because his brother was home, he was angry. He was so mad. And the dad spoke to him and asked him what was wrong. And he said, I have been faithful to you. I was here. I worked hard for you. I gave up my time and energy for you. I served you. I was faithful to you. And you never even gave me a little goat so I could have a party with my friends. But here this younger brother of mine comes home and you kill the best calf and you have a huge party for him. You see what he was saying? He was saying, it's not fair. I deserve to be treated well because I'm the one who served you and did what you wanted. I'm the one who was obedient and worked hard for you, not him. And the father responded to him. I love his response. He says, but you've been with me the whole time. And everything that I have is yours. Do you see what Jesus was saying when he told this story? Right? The father said, but you've been with me. That's the point. That you've been here. You've been with me. You were blessed to be with me. Why aren't you happy being with me? And that's what God wants for us. He doesn't want us to just work hard for him or serve him well. He wants us to be with him, to want to spend time with him. Maybe we could say it this way. He wants us to love him. So I have a book I want to read to you that I think is a great example of this. This is a book by Max Lucado, and we read a lot of his books. I like his books. And this one is called Just the Way That You Are. And I think it is a fantastic example of some people who have, a few characters, 3 characters, who have a wrong idea about God. They think God is like a boss that they have to work hard for in order to earn his affection or to earn gifts from him. And then there's another character in here who just likes to be with God. So I want you to listen and see if you can pick out which are the characters who think of God like a boss and which is the character who just loves God. In this story, God is represented by a king. So when you hear us talk about the king in this story, we're really talking about God. All right, here we go. So this is Max Lucado's book, Just the Way You Are. A long time ago, in a land much like your own, there was a village. And in the village lived 5 orphans, a lonely family of fatherless children. They had banded together against the cold. One day, the king learned of their misfortune and decided to adopt them. He announced that he would be their father and would come for them soon. When the children learned that they had a new father and that their father was a king and that the king was coming to visit, they went wild with excitement. When the people of the village learned that the children had a father and that their father was the king and that the king was coming to the village, they were excited as well. They went out to see the children and told them what to do. You need to impress the king, they explained. Only those with great gifts to give will be allowed to live in the castle. The people did not know the king. They just thought that all kings wanted to be impressed. So the children began preparing gifts to offer the king. They worked long and hard to be sure the king would approve. One of the children who knew how to carve decided to give the king a wonderful work of wooden art. He set his knife against the soft bark of the elm and whittled. The small blocks of wood came alive with the eyes of a sparrow and the nose of a horse. His sister decided to present the king with a painting that captured the beauty of the heavens, a painting worthy to hang in his castle. Another sister chose music as her way to impress the king. For long hours she practiced with her voice and mandolin. Village people would stop at her window and listen as her music took wings and soared. Yet another child set out to turn the king's head with his wisdom. Late hours would find his candle lit and his books open. Geography, math, chemistry. The breadth of his study was matched only by the depth of his desire. Surely a king would appreciate all of his knowledge. But there was one sister who had nothing to offer. Her hand was clumsy with the knife, her fingers stiff with the brush. When the little girl opened her mouth to sing, the sound was hoarse. She wasn't much of a reader. She believed she had no talent. And so she believed she had no gift. All she had to offer was her heart. For her heart was good. She spent her time at the city gates watching the people come and go. She would earn pennies to buy food for her brothers and sisters by grooming people's horses or feeding their animals. She was a simple, stable girl, but she had a good heart. She knew the beggars by name. She took time to pet each dog. She welcomed home the travelers and greeted the strangers. "How was your journey?" she would ask. "Tell me, what have you learned on your visit? How is your husband? Do you enjoy your new work?" She was full of questions for people because her heart was big and she cared about people. They were all the same to her, the beggars and the rich. She cared for all of them just the way they were. But since the little girl thought that she had no talent and no gift, she was afraid that the king would be disappointed. She remembered the villagers' advice and set her mind about the task of making a gift for the king. She took a small knife and went to her brother, the carver. "Could you teach me to carve?" she asked. "Sorry," the young craftsman responded without looking up. "I've much work to do. I haven't time for you. The king is coming, don't you know?" The girl put away her knife and picked up a brush. She went to her sister, the artist. She found her on a hill painting a sunset on a canvas. "Oh, you paint so beautifully," said the girl, who had no gift but a big heart. "I know," the painter answered. "Could you share your gift with me?" "Oh, not now," the sister responded with eyes on her palette. "The king is coming, you know." The girl with no gift then remembered her other sister, the one with the song. "She will help me," she said. When she arrived at her sister's house, she found a crowd of people waiting to listen to her sister sing. "Sister," she called, "Sister, I've come to listen and learn." But her sister couldn't hear. The noise of the applause was too loud. With a heavy heart, the girl turned and walked away. Then she remembered her brother. She took a book with small words and big letters and went to see him. "I have nothing to offer the king," she said. "Could you teach me to read so I might show him my wisdom?" The young sage-to-be didn't speak. He was lost in thought. The child with no gift spoke again. Could you help me? I have no talent." "Go away," said the scholar, scarcely moving his eyes from the text. "Can't you see I'm preparing myself for the coming of the king?" So the girl went away sadly. She had nothing to give. She returned to her place at the city's gates and took up her task of caring for people's animals. After some days, a man in merchant's clothes came to the small town. "Can you feed my donkey?" he asked the girl. The orphan jumped to her feet and looked into the brown face of the one who had traveled far. His skin was leathery from the sun, and his eyes were deep. His kind smile warmed the girl's heart. "That I can," she answered eagerly, leading the animal to the trough. "Trust him to me. When you return, he will be groomed and fed." "Tell me," she asked as the donkey drank, "have you come to stay?" "For only a while. I'm looking for someone." "Are you weary from your journey?" "That I am." "Would you like to sit and rest?" The girl motioned to a bench near the wall. The tall man sat on the bench, leaned against the wall, closed his eyes, and slept. After a few minutes, he awoke and found the girl sitting at his feet watching his face. She was embarrassed that he had caught her staring. She turned away. "Have you been sitting there long?" "Yes." "What do you seek?" "Nothing. You seem to be a kind man with a peaceful heart. It's good to be near you." The man smiled and stroked his beard. "You are a wise girl," he said. "When I return, we will visit some more." The man did return, quite soon. "Did you find the ones you were seeking?" the girl asked. "I found them, but they were too busy for me." "What do you mean?" "Well, the first one I came to see was a woodsmith rushing to complete a project. He told me to return tomorrow. Another was an artist. I saw her sitting on a hillside, but the people below said that she did not want to be disturbed. The other was a musician. I sat with the others and listened to her music. When I asked to talk with her, she said she had no time. The other I sought had left. He has moved to the city to go to a school." The girl's eyes widened as she realized who the man was. "But you don't look like a king," she gasped. "I try not to," he explained. "Being a king can be lonely. People act strangely around me. They ask for favors. They try to impress me. They bring me all their complaints." "But isn't that what a king is for?" asked the girl. "Certainly," responded the king. "But there are times when I just want to be with my people. There are times when I want to talk to my people, to hear about their day, to laugh a bit, to cry some. There are times when I just want to be their father." "Is that why you adopted the children?" "That's why. Adults think they have to impress me. Children don't. They just want to talk to me. They know that I love them just the way they are." "But my brothers and sisters were too busy." "They were. But I'll come back. Maybe they'll have more time another day." The girl hesitated. "Sir, what about me? I have no gift, but I would like to be your child." The king smiled. "My dear, you have the best gift of all. You gave your heart, your kindness, your time, your love. Of course you'll be my child. I love you just the way you are." And so it happened that the children with many talents but no time missed the visit of the king, while the girl whose only gift was the gift of her heart became the child of the king. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that story. That's another one of my favorites, and I think it's the perfect story for this lesson. Did you notice? Did you notice which characters in the story thought of God like a boss, somebody that they worked for, that they had to perform for in order to earn his affection or to earn his love? Why don't you turn to your mom or dad or whoever's watching this video with you and tell them which characters thought of God like a boss? All right, now which character in the story was it that had a right attitude towards God? Can you turn to your mom and dad or whoever's watching the video with you and tell them, which character was it that had the right attitude towards God? Did you see in this story what God wants from us most? Did you notice that? He wants to be with his people. He wants them to choose time with him. He wants them to love him, and he wants them to trust him to take care of them. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you next week. And God bless you guys until then.